I work in a prison. When I was new, I was working overtime one night in a housing unit that has seen a lot of death. It was well after midnight, and all of the offenders were supposed to be in their cells. Since this was a medium security prison, the offenders still had access to leave their cell to use the communal bathroom at night time. Well, I was going in for the 2 a.m. count. I watched an offender walk down the stairs from the second level and into the bathroom. I stood at the entrance to the bathroom and yelled in to ask him what cell he was in, so that I could add an extra body to that cell for my count, but got no answer. I then walked into the bathroom and searched everywhere, but found absolutely nobody. I told one of my co-workers about what happened, and the first thing he asked me was he tall and skinny with long dreads? And that fit his description exactly. When I answered yes, I was told, "That's Mr. Bones. He killed himself a few years ago, but he still hangs around." I still get goosebumps thinking about it. I don't do nights anymore, but for years I did nights in residential care facilities. One of the spookiest was in a soul-charged dementia facility. 15 D3 residents, and no one but me to keep an eye on them all. Around 3 a.m. in the morning, after doing an intentional round, where you check all the residents are safe and well, I heard the doorbell ring. I got a sudden wave of goosebumps because this is a secure facility and it was the middle of the night. I went and looked out the window. There was no one there. I blew it off as being just a hallucination. 10 minutes later, it rang again. Now I'm terrified. I went back to the window and checked again. No one was there, but I looked across the street and a strange car was parked there. I took a photo of it, just in case, and then I went back to my station, where I'd been playing a game of match the card suits with a delightful, but very demented lady. I sat down, and she looked at me and said, "What did the gentleman want, dearie? He looked like he had a bad night and needs a cuppa." Chills went down my spine, but I brushed it off, because hallucinations are common with dementia, and this lady is particularly prone to not being oriented to time and place. The doorbell rang again, less than 5 minutes later, and this time I was freaking out. Another one of my residents is up and walking the hallway, painting with a clean paintbrush to keep him occupied. I passed him on the way to the front window, and he turned to me and said, "Don't answer the door alone, he might hurt you," before carrying on painting. I'm crapping myself. I'm trying not to cry. I don't know what to do. I'm a single 23-year-old female in charge of 15 people with varying stages of dementia. The effing doorbell keeps ringing in the middle of the night, and it's a weekend, so my on-call won't answer her phone. She never did on the weekends. I looked out of the window and saw the same car as before. As I'm looking around, I saw a shadow move in front of the door, and a person walked around the corner, and then looked straight into the window next to me. We made eye contact, and I screamed. My residents started freaking out. I was freaking out, and the guy just bolted. I called the police, and they turned up. It was chaotic, because I had 15 residents who had all been awoken by the commotion, and now have 2 police officers in their space. My on-call still isn't answering her phone, and I'm struggling to deal with the whole situation. Eventually, after many cups of tea, and 2 lots of PRN meds for the more challenging residents, we were mostly settled. It was now 7 a.m, and the handover shift arrived, a nurse and a caregiver. I told them what happened, and they told me that there was a woman down the road whose house was broken into, and she was attacked in her bed by a drug seeker. They ransacked her house looking for drugs. I had an internal meltdown because we had drugs in the cupboard in the bedroom. Good drugs too, morphine, methadone, fentanyl, etc. I couldn't help but wonder if he was intentionally looking for us and just took the next best option. For reference, the facility was an old converted boarding house in a gentrified area, so lots of old doctors' houses in the area. Easy to mistake the home I worked at for a regular house. I left that job not long after because they refused to hire a second person to work the nights, despite it being understaffed, according to best practice guidelines. One summer, I worked overnight at a prestigious country club. This place was over 100 years old. Despite the luxurious renovation, its basement felt haunted. It always gave me chills and bad vibes. I worked in the basement. I cleaned the basement for 2 hours, then I got to chill in the members' lounge from 12 to 6 AM. One night, I fell asleep at 1 AM in the lounge. Suddenly, I woke up to people talking in the hallway, and I heard someone go into the locker room. I was the only one working in the basement that night, and there is no way someone went through the security. I started to get chills. I don't get paid enough to chase after whatever it is, so I stayed on the couch while holding an empty wine bottle, just in case it was an intruder. Then someone started to shower, and they were laughing. The sound was muffled through the walls, so I didn't catch what they said. I called the security guard, and they got there right away. As soon as we walked into the locker room, the laughing stopped. We walked into the showers, and 3 of the showers were on. We tracked the tapes that night. The locker room automatic door was triggered and opened, which always happened. But the running showers remained unexplainable. After that night, I switched to day shifts outside. Things have been fine ever since. Before I continue with the final story, if you've enjoyed this video so far, please leave a like, a comment, and subscribe to see future content from me, as well as help me in the algorithm. Thank you. I worked at a gas station. It was the middle of a snowy night. An old guy came in through the door. He looked at me, walked down a few aisles, then decided to go to the bathroom. I thought he was going in there to do drugs or something, but I didn't care. I used most of those hours to do homework. About 30 minutes passed, and I remembered that he was still in there. I got concerned and went to check on him. We had a key to open the bathrooms from the outside if we needed to, and I let him know I was coming in. The guy was still and slumped over to one side. Again, I spoke to him. "Are you alright, sir?" But no response. He was definitely dead, so I called the emergency services. I found out he was suffering from hypothermia and tried to use our bathroom to warm up. The creepy part actually happened the following night. After the body was gone and paperwork was sorted on what had occurred. That night, another old guy came into the store, and he stuck out to me because he was wearing the same colour shirt and pants as the guy who died. He also looked somewhat similar to him. I know it wasn't a ghost because this guy went and grabbed some snacks and needed to pay for a pump. So I got him all rung up, and he asked if he could leave his stuff on the counter real quick to use the bathroom. I agreed, and again, this guy was gone for roughly 30 minutes. So I went to check on him too. When I opened the bathroom stall door, nobody was there. There were no snacks on the counter, nor was there any car by the pumps, just mine alone in the lot.